I've been able to understand animals since I was born. When I was 3, the old golden retriever at my grandma's house started barking frantically at me. Don't drink that. There's rat poison in the soup. I got so scared I knocked the bowl of chicken soup off the table. Half an hour later, a rat that licked up the spill on the floor dropped dead by the baseboard, foaming at the mouth. When I was 7, the neighbor's pet canary spent all day cursing out their nanny. Thief. Stole the money and hid it under the bed. The police did a search and found the missing $3,000 exactly where the bird said it was. Fast forward to today. I was waiting in the ER to pick up my dad from his shift when a chaotic scene broke out. The young daughter of a powerful, old money heiress had been bitten by a snake. The heiress's fiancé rushed into the ER. His own hand was swollen from a snake bite, but he didn't care. He practically shoved a clear plastic container with a snake in it right into my dad's face. My dad, an ER doctor with 20 years of experience, immediately identified it as a cobra and ordered the nurses to prep the cobra antivenom for the little girl. But suddenly, a piercing, frantic series of barks erupted from a fluffy Pomeranian near the door. That's not the snake that bit the little master. That man swapped the snakes. He wants to marry into the rich family, but he doesn't want to be a stepdad. He's intentionally misleading the doctor to let her die. The snake that actually bit her was a king cobra. My pupils contracted violently. I yelled out before I could stop myself. Dad, stop. You can't just give her cobra antivenom. You need to give her banded Crite antivenom too. The entire emergency room froze and stared at me. My dad looked utterly confused. Leo, a cobra bite only requires one type of antivenom. We don't need the banded Crite serum. I took a step forward. But what if the snake that bit her wasn't this one? What if it was a king cobra? The moment the words left my mouth, the man claiming to be the heiress's fiancé went completely pale. That was all the confirmation I needed. The Pomeranian was telling the truth. This guy had swapped the snakes. I looked at my dad, keeping my voice steady. Dad, you know a king cobra bite delivers both neurotoxins and cytotoxins simultaneously. A single antivenom isn't going to be enough. My dad was a veteran of the ER. He was sharper than most. Hearing me lay it out like that, his expression shifted. But her current symptoms align perfectly with a standard cobra bite. And the family brought the specimen right here. He's full of crap. The Pomeranian was jumping up and down in a panic, wagging its tail so hard it looked like a helicopter blade. Adam intentionally sent the nanny away and had someone release a king cobra through the garden fence. After the little master was bitten, he let the king cobra escape, pulled out this regular cobra he had prepared beforehand, and let it bite his own hand. If the doctor only gives her one antivenom, she's going to die. And then the mistress will definitely make the doctor take the fall for it. I sucked in a sharp breath. This guy was pure evil. He wasn't just trying to murder a little kid. He was setting my dad up to take the blame for medical malpractice. Before I could say another word, Adam, who had just finished receiving his own dose of antivenom, lashed out. Who the hell are you? Do you know spouting nonsense in an ER can kill someone? The tear tracks on his face were still wet, but his eyes were sharp and vicious. I'm warning you. This is the granddaughter of the Sterling family. If you delay her treatment, you won't be able to afford the consequences. I didn't back down an inch. You're the one delaying her treatment. You want the Sterling family fortune, but you don't want the baggage of a stepdaughter. So you came up with a sick plan to swap the snake and mislead the doctors. You thought you could walk away with clean hands, inherit the money, and even look like a tragic hero who tried to save her. The ER went dead silent. Every single pair of eyes snapped to Adam, except for the Pomeranian, who was staring at me in absolute shock. You can hear me? It read my expression and went completely wild with excitement. Oh my God. Yes. The little master is saved. Finally, someone is exposing this evil man. Adam's face lost all its color. He clearly couldn't fathom how I knew the exact details of his plan. But he was a good actor. He regained his composure in a split second. Do you have any proof of this insane conspiracy theory? Keep spouting this garbage, and I will sue you for defamation. I ignored him. I turned to look at the Sterling family patriarch, a distinguished older gentleman standing near the bed. Sir, please believe me. The little girl was bitten by a king cobra. If you only administer one type of antivenom right now, the neurotoxins in her system will go untreated. She won't survive the night. The old man's deeply lined face was tense with anxiety. He hesitated. Adam, are you absolutely sure this is the snake that bit Kayla? He asked it gently, but Adam instantly made his eyes red and glassy, putting on a masterful display of wounded grievance. "Grandpa, you've seen how much I love Kayla. You know how good I am to her." I was so terrified she would be misdiagnosed that I chased down the snake with my bare hands, knowing I would get bitten. Why would you listen to the crazy ramblings of a total stranger over me? If you still don't believe me, ask the nanny. She was right there when it happened. Everyone's gaze shifted to the middle-aged nanny hovering nervously in the corner. She was already terrified because her negligence had led to the child getting bitten. Hearing Adam essentially offer her a lifeline, she immediately nodded vigorously. "Why yes, sir, little Kayla was definitely bitten by this exact snake. It came out of nowhere, bit her, and tried to slither away." Mr. Adam reacted so fast, he just threw himself at it to protect her. The Pomeranian was grinding its teeth in pure rage. "I spit on you. This man is the biggest faker in the world. He bribed the nanny months ago to find out everything the little master liked, just so he could suck up to the family and get engaged to the mistress. Behind their backs, he calls the little master a burden. He even calls the old man a half-dead geezer. But look at the old man's face. He's getting soft. He's going to fall for it." Just as the dog predicted, the old man hesitated for a few seconds before sighing. "Adam, forgive me. My mind is just clouded with panic. I didn't mean to doubt you. Doctor, go ahead with the Cobra antivenom." My dad knew I wasn't the type to cause a scene without a reason. He had been quietly but intensely observing the little girl's symptoms this entire time. "Sir, I strongly advise we exercise caution here. The patient is already beginning to exhibit subtle signs of neurotoxicity." Before he could finish his sentence, the director of the ER shoved his way through the crowd and yanked my dad aside by the arm. "Dr. Hoffman, the family literally brought the specimen with them. What is there to hesitate about? This is the Sterling family. We need to administer the antivenom immediately. If you delay this any longer and something happens to that child, who's going to take the fall? Because it won't be me." The director glared at me, his face turning an ugly shade of purple. "And why are you letting your son run his mouth in my ER? He's a vet med student. What does he know about human clinical toxicology?" My dad's brow furrowed, ready to argue back, but Adam exploded first. "Director Vance, is this how the doctors in your hospital operate?" He lifted his chin, radiating arrogant entitlement. "I risked my own life to catch this snake, and you're going to ignore the hard evidence because a vet student had a hunch? It seems I need to have a serious conversation with my father about pulling the Adam Corporation's funding for this hospital next quarter." Director Vance's face instantly went sheet white. The Adam Corporation was the hospital's largest private donor. They funded millions in medical equipment procurement every year. Vance didn't hesitate for half a second. He whirled around and screamed at my dad. "Dr. Hoffman, administer the Cobra antivenom immediately. This is a direct medical order. If you don't execute it right this second, you can pack up your locker and get the hell out of my hospital." My dad looked down at the little girl on the bed. She was 7 years old. The swelling on her arm was traveling rapidly up her lymphatic vessels toward her shoulder, and she was crying weakly in pain. He took a deep breath, turned to the nearest nurse, and spoke with absolute clarity. "Nurse Sarah, go to the pharmacy and pull the banded Crite antivenom." Director Vance's eyes bulged out of his head. "Are you insane? She was bitten by a standard cobra." My dad's voice was rock solid. "I am the attending physician for this patient. I have the ultimate authority to determine the treatment plan based on clinical presentation." Nurse Sarah froze for a second, then nodded and turned to run toward the pharmacy. Adam panicked. He lunged forward and grabbed Sarah by the sleeve of her scrubs, his voice pitching high. "Don't you dare. Kayla was bitten by a cobra. If you pump her full of unnecessary antivenom and she dies from toxic shock, who's going to take responsibility?" He whipped his head toward the director. Director Vance was sweating profusely. He yelled at my dad. "Dr. Hoffman, wake up. Mr. Adam and the little girl were bitten by the exact same snake. Mr. Adam is showing absolutely zero signs of neurotoxicity. He only has localized swelling, but that only made my dad more confident." "Exactly. Putting aside what species of snake it is, why would two people bitten by the exact same snake exhibit two completely different physiological reactions?" Someone in the crowd of onlookers muttered quietly. "Yeah. Why are their symptoms different? Could the kid be right? Did this guy really swap the snake because he didn't want a stepkid? It's totally possible. Remember that crazy true crime case on the news last month?" Adam's face visibly tightened, but he recovered fast. It's obvious. I'm a full-grown adult with a strong immune system. My body metabolizes venom differently. Kayla is a small child, so the toxins are overwhelming her system. Plus, I already received the anti-venom and I'm fine. That proves it's the right treatment. Director Vance nodded frantically like a bobblehead. Mr. Adam is absolutely right. This is basic physiolo. Before he could finish, a woman in a sleek black trench coat strode into the ER, flanked by 4 massive bodyguards. Maya Sterling, the heiress herself, looked at her daughter lying on the bed, her jaw tightening so hard it looked like it might snap. What is going on? Why hasn't she received the anti-venom yet? Adam threw himself at her, trembling and crying. Maya, it's this vet student. He keeps physically blocking the doctors from giving Kayla the shot. I caught the cobra with my own hands, but he keeps insisting it was a king cobra. He's trying to force them to give her a second, highly toxic anti-venom. He's literally trying to kill her. Maya didn't even look at him. She took a step forward, her freezing, calculating gaze landing directly on my face. You're claiming the snake that bit my daughter isn't the one in that box. What proof do you have? The Pomeranian was going absolutely feral, jumping and barking at Maya's ankles. Mistress. Mistress. I told the nice boy. I saw it with my own eyes. Unfortunately, Maya couldn't hear the dog, but I could definitely feel the intense, suffocating pressure of her stare. Proof? What proof did I have? Was I supposed to tell a billionaire heiress that I heard it from her fluffy lapdog? She'd lock me in a psych ward. Seeing that I was temporarily speechless, a flash of smug triumph crossed Adam's eyes. See? I asked him for proof earlier, and he couldn't produce a single thing. He's just deflecting and throwing insane accusations at me to delay Kayla's treatment. Maya, it's been almost an hour since she was bitten. We have to give her the shot now. Maya finally turned her head to look at him. You seem very eager. Her eyes were completely devoid of emotion, but something about the way she said it made Adam flinch. And no, I'm just terrified for Kayla. Even I feel dizzy and sick, and I'm an adult who already got the antidote. Maya acted like he hadn't spoken. She turned her icy gaze back to me. I checked the security footage from this date. Kayla ran into a blind spot in the garden. The cameras didn't catch the bite. Did you see something? I was desperately trying to figure out how to spin a believable lie when the Pomeranian started barking frantically again. The boss. Find the boss. There's a stray tabby cat that lives in the garden. The little master always feeds her, and the boss loves her. After the little master got bit, I saw the boss chase after the snake. The other strays followed her. They're definitely going to avenge the little master. A tabby cat? I'm a vet med student. I know animal behavior. A cat's reaction time is 10 times faster than a snake's. To a street-smart stray cat, a snake is basically just a very spicy string toy. If what the Pomeranian was saying was true, the tabby had definitely caught it. I looked up at Maya, radiating absolute confidence. Ms. Sterling, the cameras might not have caught it, but you can send your security team to sweep the perimeter of your garden. Check every inch outside the fence, specifically anywhere the stray cats congregate. The snake that actually bit your daughter is going to be right there. Adam's face warped in horror. Are you insane? I already caught the snake. You're sending people on a wild goose chase just to... I let out a dry laugh, cutting him off completely. Mr. Adam, for a guy who just claimed to be dizzy and sick, you're awfully energetic. What exactly are you so terrified of? Are you scared they're going to find the snake? Or are you scared they're going to find something else? You. He realized he was overreacting and forced himself to calm down. What do I have to be scared of? My conscience is perfectly clear. But if Kayla suffers permanent nerve damage because of your little stunt, you will pay for it. I ignored his empty threats and kept my eyes locked on Maya. The golden window to administer antivenom is 2 hours. I'm sure the Sterling family security team is efficient enough to sweep a garden in a fraction of that time. But if you inject the wrong antivenom right now, there is no undo button. It's your call. I had done everything I could. If they insisted on giving her the wrong treatment, it was out of my dad's hands. I just had to pray that this woman wasn't the type of mother to let her kid die just because her fiancé told her to. Maya stared at me for 2 long, agonizing seconds. Then she pulled out her phone. Sweep the garden. Find the snake. I had barely let out a sigh of relief when she locked eyes with me again. Listen to me very carefully. The golden window might be 2 hours, but every minute counts. If my daughter suffers any lasting neurological damage because of this delay, I will personally destroy your life. So I try to do a good deed and get a death threat in return.
Nice.
But there was a kid's life on the line. I swallowed hard and nodded. Understood. Now I just had to pray to God that the street cat actually won the boss fight against a king cobra. The next 10 minutes felt like 10 years. My dad stood by the bed, continuously checking the little girl's blood oxygen levels. Director Vance paced back and forth, muttering under his breath. We're dead. If the Sterling family blames the hospital, the entire ER is going down. No, the whole hospital is finished. The Sterling patriarch was frantically rolling a string of wooden prayer beads through his fingers, murmuring silent prayers. Adam was staring daggers at me, his eyes practically dripping poison. The Pomeranian was lying flat on the floor by my feet, its ears pressed against the tile, its tail thumping rhythmically. The boss definitely killed it. I just hope those stupid bodyguards aren't blind. 10 minutes later, Maya's phone rang. She answered it. Slowly, a deep crease formed between her brows. She hung up, looked at me, and her eyes turned utterly lethal. They swept the garden 3 times. They checked a 10-mile radius. Aside from a few feral cats, there is no king cobra. Impossible. The boss would never let it get away. The Pomeranian jumped up in a panic. My heart sank into my stomach. Did the cat lose? Adam instantly burst into dramatic, heaving sobs. Maya, I told you he was just stalling. Please, tell the doctors to give Kayla the shot before it's too late. Maya's gaze on me was colder than liquid nitrogen. She raised a single finger, gesturing to her bodyguards. Take him to the police station. 2 massive men in suits stepped forward and grabbed my arms. The Pomeranian let out a miserable, high-pitched whine. It's over, the little master is dead. As the bodyguards started dragging me toward the door, I fought back, screaming at the top of my lungs. You can't just give her one shot. You're going to kill her. Adam stepped up and slapped me hard across the face. Shut your mouth. What king cobra? What stray cats? You made up this entire psychotic fantasy just to delay Kayla's treatment. Who paid you? Was it one of Maya's corporate rivals? He was working himself into a frenzy. He raised his hand to slap me again. My dad, who was being restrained by hospital security, screamed, his voice breaking. Don't touch my son. He doesn't lie. Adam whipped around and roared at my dad. He didn't even see the snake, and he's screaming about a king cobra. If that's not lying, what is? You two are in this together. This whole snake incident is suspicious. He won't tell the truth until he learns a lesson. Throw him in the back of my car. I'll interrogate him myself. And grab his dad, too. He's probably an accomplice. Adam smiled smugly as the bodyguards dragged me closer to the automatic doors. The Pomeranian was desperately biting at the hem of Maya's trench coat. No, it's not true. The nice boy didn't lie. Don't let him take the nice boy. Adam will torture him. Maya glanced down at the little dog tugging on her coat, a slight frown on her face. She opened her mouth to speak, but before she could, a golden-brown blur launched itself through the sliding glass doors of ER. With a wet, heavy thud, a 6-foot-long, dark brown snake was dropped onto the sterile white tiles. A ragged, battle-scarred tabby cat sat down next to it and casually started licking its paw.
Meow.
I'm exhausted. It took me forever to find out which hospital the kid was at. Better not be too late. The second Adam's eyes locked onto the mangled corpse of the king cobra on the floor, his face drained of every single drop of blood. The sterile, white-tiled emergency room fell into a silence, so absolute you could hear the hum of the overhead fluorescent lights. On the floor, the 6-foot-long corpse of the king cobra lay in a loose, mangled coil. It was covered in tiny, precise puncture wounds, classic claw and bite marks from a highly experienced feline hunter. Beside it, the battle-scarred tabby cat casually swiped a tongue over her paw, her yellow eyes scanning the room with utter disdain. The Pomeranian's tail practically exploded into a blur. The boss. It's the boss. She brought the body. She actually brought the body. The little dog yapped, practically doing backflips of pure joy. My heart, which had been lodged in my throat, slammed back down into my chest. I looked at the tabby. You're barely on time, human. The tabby cat rumbled in a low, scratchy meow that translated perfectly in my head. But I don't like seeing my favorite little food provider die. Tell your father to fix her. Dad, I yelled, breaking the spell that had frozen the room. The snake. My dad didn't need to be told twice. He broke away from the hospital security guard who had been holding him back and lunged toward the floor. He didn't even care about the grime. He knelt beside the dead snake, using a tongue depressor from his pocket to carefully pry open its mouth. Double fangs, neurotoxic and cytotoxic glands. My dad's voice trembled, but it was the tremble of absolute clinical certainty. He whipped his head up, his eyes blazing. This is a king cobra. It's a completely different species from the spectacled cobra in the plastic container. Maya Sterling's face went from icy calm to a terrifying, pale fury. She looked at the dead snake, then at the tabby cat, and finally, her lethal gaze locked onto Adam. Adam was shaking so hard his knees were knocking together. He took a frantic step backward, his eyes darting toward the ER exit. No, that's impossible. Where did that stray cat